stepping up. That is who we are. It's what we do when the stakes are life and death. Here in Kentucky, during tough times, we open our hearts and our homes to one another. Jeremy Creason is a fire chief in Mayfield. I remember talking to him as the tornado was going through, and I remember meeting him at first light outside a candle factory where we prayed for a miracle, thinking we'd lost 100. Thankfully, we'd only lost 13. It was just the other day I was talking to Mayfield Mayor Kathy Onan. She was telling me Jeremy Creason had loaded up his ambulance and was driving right here to Eastern Kentucky, despite, if you looked around his community, so much work still to be done. She told me that Jeremy asked to pass a message on. He said the people of Eastern Kentucky and the world was there when Western Kentucky needed it. And you could bet that Western Kentucky was coming to Eastern Kentucky in their time of need. We've also once again seen the professionalism and outright heroism of the Kentucky National Guard, Kentucky State Police, Fish and Wildlife personnel, Kentucky Emergency Management, and local first responders who showed up, just not from here, but from all over. The Lexington Fire Department, trying to get to Hazard, couldn't get through it, so they did over 60 rescues when they first hit water right here in Breathitt County. Mr. President, our Kentucky National Guard is the greatest guard in the country. Its members remind us that they are us. They are Kentuckians who are our neighbors, who in incredible times get called to service, and they never let us down. But for every rescue of our first responders, there were 2 by community members, neighbors that may have had a kayak. There was a young man in Letcher County with a jet ski that, I'm not kidding you, rescued more than 10 people. Thankfully, having that in his garage, risking their lives to help one another. Stories of neighbors rushing from their own flooded homes to their neighbors. And let me tell you, I remember watching a cleanup, talking to somebody, pulling stuff out, saying, is this your house? She said, no, mine's 2 down, but we're going to finish this one before we get to mine. And we've seen so many outstanding young Kentuckians stepping up. It looks like one may have even given his life in the service of others. We have seen a remarkable response because we Kentuckians are remarkable people. And just as we promised our families in Western Kentucky, we are here for you, and we are not going anywhere. We'll be here for you in the days, in the weeks, and the months ahead. We are here until every life and every structure is rebuilt. You are not alone, and we are not alone. We have seen an outpouring of unconditional love from across the country. Millions of dollars and so many donations have come in. We need to ask, please, turn to monetary donations. We have received so much water, so many clothes, and the rest. We're having to find warehouses counties away just to put them in it. And as a state, we are not alone. I'd like to thank the entire team at FEMA, including Deanne Criswell, FEMA Administrator, and Region 4 Administrator Gracia Sheck, who have been here working with us. The administrator called me the moment a plane touched down that she was in, after I'd called her in the first hours of the flood. I want to thank the American Red Cross. One of the first calls I took, she was there on the other end of the line. I want to thank Emergency Management and Colonel Jeremy Slinker, as well as every local official that hasn't slept in more than 9 days. And I want to thank the Tennessee and West Virginia National Guard. There are Kentuckians that wouldn't be here today but for our neighbors giving their great resources. I want to thank our federal delegation, Senator McConnell and Paul, our entire House leadership, Rogers, Yarmouth, Barr, Guthrie, Massey, and Comer. Everybody was there when Eastern Kentucky needed us. And I am deeply grateful for President Biden. And it is an honor to welcome him and First Lady Jill Biden here to Eastern Kentucky. President Biden and his administration have acted with greater speed for that federal disaster declaration, as well as for individual assistance to our families, than I have ever seen. We recently got 100% coverage for a 30-day period that's going to help our local communities and get this area dug out faster. And now 12 impacted counties are eligible for individual assistance through FEMA. Every time we have a request, the answer has been a quick yes. And then how else can we help? On behalf of the Commonwealth, Brittany and I are grateful for that partnership and the attention and love that you have shown for our people. But I have one more important ask for what else can we do. In Western Kentucky and across the country, and we've had this discussion, too many people are being denied by FEMA for technicalities, and too little is paid to those that get through the system. The people of Eastern Kentucky have lost everything. Most just have the clothes left on their back. No insurance, no other coverage. Now is the time to fix this issue, and because of this president, FEMA is doing things to help our people right here, right now, that we have never seen done before, and we know under his leadership, it'll continue. I want to thank everybody in FEMA for adapting with us as our people desperately need it. In these times, even more than most, we Kentuckians lean on our faith. I believe we see God in the response, and that's a good thing because we have so much more to do for the people here. In the book of Joshua, God says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened. Do not be dismayed, for the Lord God is with you wherever you go." In the book of Jeremiah, we're told, "For I know plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to give you peace, not disasters, plans to give you a hope and a future." To the people of Eastern Kentucky, we love you. We're going to be here with you. And this president and first lady are here today to show that you matter to them. Now I'd like to introduce you to a president who has been there in times of disaster each time we've called and is making things happen that we have never seen before, President Joe Biden.
Well, thank you very much. Folks, I was going to give more formal remarks, but can y'all hear me? Is this on? You know, I got to meet several families. Got to meet the family back here on this side of the road to see what's happened to their properties, their trailer, everything they had, and how they've come together. No complaining, just getting up and going to get it done. And I walked across the road to another family. One family, gentleman, his trailer is all the way up at the other end of the property, gone. And you know what? When I started talking about what we could do, he said, well, you know, we Kentuckians don't want to ask for too much. Catch this. We don't want to ask for too much. We're used to having neighbors help us out. We don't know that the rest of y'all, everybody else should be doing this. I said, you're kidding me. Not seriously, what are you talking about? And to point it out that, here's the deal. It is true that the people here in this community in Western Kentucky and the folks I met in the tornado, they're not just Kentuckians, they're Americans. They're Americans. This happened in America. American problem. And we're all Americans. Everybody has an obligation to help. We have the capacity to do this. It's not like it's beyond our control. The weather may be beyond our control for now, but it's not beyond our control. And I promise you, we're staying, the federal government along with the state and county and the city, we're staying until everybody's back to where they were. Not a joke. And one other thing I raised with the Gov, we've never done this before, but because of a number of things we got done on a bipartisan basis, like a $200 million infrastructure project, like what we're doing today, we passed yesterday, helping take care of everything from health care to God knows what else. What we're going to do is we're going to see, for example, if they got to put a new water line in the community, there's no reason why they can't at the same time be digging a line that puts in a whole new modern line for internet connections. Why? Why can't we do that? So this is going to be different. We're going to come back better than before. And I really mean it. That's the objective I have. Not come back to what we were before, come back to better than we were before. And I mean this, Gov, and you know I mean it. And I'm confident with your leadership we can do it. Along with we call them county executives where I'm from, but from the judge here. I'm finding this is something that we can all do. We can get this. I'm finding this is something that we can all do. We can get this done. Because we're the only country in the world that has come out of every major disaster stronger than we went into it. We got clobbered going in, but we came out stronger. That's the objective here. It's not just to get back to where we were, it's to get back to better than where we were. And we have the wherewithal to do it now with the legislation that's been bipartisanly passed. So I don't want any Kentuckian telling me you don't have to do this for me. Oh, yeah, we do. You're an American citizen. We never give up. We never stop. We never bow. We never bend. We just go forward. And that's what we're going to do here. And you're going to see. And I promise you, the bad news for you is I'm coming back because I want to see it. Thank you very much. Am I supposed to introduce you, Judge?
I think you're it.
That's it.
You're a man.
All right, now we're all going to run laps around. But all kidding aside, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. These people deserve an enormous amount of credit for their courage and their stamina. Thanks.
President Joe Biden there, blue shirt, aviator sunglasses in front of some of the destruction there in Kentucky. Chavies, Kentucky is where he's located. Met with victims of the recent flooding there and joined by the governor to talk about the state and federal response and the integration between the two. I think we're going to get more on the president's appearance there in Kentucky and his emergence from COVID isolation by talking to CBS News political contributor Zeke Miller.
Yes, Zeke is a White House reporter for the Associated Press. Zeke, great to see you. So, what are your biggest takeaways, Zeke, from President Biden's remarks there in Kentucky?
And this is a role where we've seen President Biden have to adopt frequently. It's that the consoler-in-chief, the disaster-tour-in-chief several times throughout his presidency. And it's one that he's very adept at and has proven, and unfortunately had to do a whole lot in his first 19 months in office. He was in, as he mentioned, Kentucky last December before Christmas to tour devastation from tornadoes. Here he is back in the eastern part of the state, looking at damage from the really devastating floods that we saw about a week and a half ago. The president pledging the full support of the federal government, enduring support, and also emphasizing that in disasters there are no Democrats and Republicans. There are only Americans, and that's why he's there. And he wants to come back to see the recovery once it's concluded. That's the message that people on the ground want to hear, what state officials, bipartisan congressional delegation want to hear, and hopefully that provides a small measure of comfort for the folks who are going through some really terrible times down there.
Zeke, do you have a sense so far, politics aside, whether the expansion of federal disaster assistance there will be doing for the state of Kentucky what needs to be done there?
It's it will be everything the state needs? Potentially not, but it's certainly as much as the federal government can do. There was a notable line from the president a couple of hours ago when he was in a briefing where he said, if it's legal, we'll do it. If it's not legal, we'll change the law. Sort of a sort of standard Biden joke there, but essentially he's trying to communicate to the folks on the ground the full weight of the federal government was behind the response there. And then also we heard a little bit from the president. While they're doing this recovery, let's make he's going back to that old line of his "Build Back Better" campaign slogan, saying if you're going to put in a new water main to replace the one that was just damaged in the flooding, put in a new fiber optic line too while you're in the ground. That's the sort of message that in that part of the state can go a long way. That federal disaster aid that the president approved provides full matching, full coverage for federal coverage for things like rebuilding. It also hauling away debris, which in the early days is a huge expense. And so, in addition to the federal emergency management agency teams on the ground there, is it everything the state needs? Probably not, but it's certainly it seems to be about everything the federal government can offer.
And Zeke, switching gears for a moment here, the Inflation Reduction Act is heading to the House for review after passing through the Senate over the weekend. How is the Biden administration hoping to take advantage of the passage of this bill? And do you think it will give the White House some much needed momentum ahead of the midterms?
For Democrats, that's really the million-dollar question right now. This is the president in the next couple of days is going to see the last big piece of his domestic policy agenda that he laid out back when he was a candidate, passed by Congress, and he'll soon sign it into law. That seems to be the direction we're going in. And that is a huge legislative accomplishment for the president.